Hi, welcome back to Guessagaingaming. So in the last video on the channel I said that I bought 8 to 9 games in the PlayStation store on New Year's Christmas sale, and the total I spent was about £20. They were all in deep discounts, and I think the cheapest was just over £1, the most expensive was just under £5. And my intention was to go through them all, not in any specific order, but go through them all rather than just leave some in my library and play them at random times in the future, and do them all for the channel to see what you get if you spend £20 on random games. They're all games, as I said in the last video, that I had looked at slightly before except one, which I'll come to later because that's not this one, and I'll see what I picked up and see if out of £20 on games that were in deep discounts, anything seemed good, anything was like generally not good, or whether it was a waste of money. So the first game is called Lacuna. It's, as you can see, a pixel art game. Pixel art, although I absolutely appreciate the art form behind it, is not my kind of thing at all. Any game, even a turn-based game, and I'm always looking for new turn-based games, especially on PlayStation because there's just not many, I don't buy. I'm not a pixel art person at all. The only way I buy them is if they're in deep sales and they're these kind of story-based games that are sci-fi. The only other one I can remember buying is Cloudpunk, which looked a bit similar, and it's not something I'd buy often, so that's the heads up for that. Having said that, it looks fine for what it is. Like I said, I wouldn't want to play a pixel game in turn-based over a long period of time. It just wouldn't be for me, however good the game was. Anyway, so the backstory of this, and it's not going to be any spoilers, is that I'm the head of security for this planet, or this organisation. There's been some major global war, and although I should be being head of security and looking after my charges, I'm talking to my ex, and I've made a bit of time. The beginning of this game starts a bit obscurely because you're actually playing a different character before the war starts, and then it cuts to him. I'm not sure whether that's going to loop back to a different time of the story, but we'll see. But I think this guy's the main character we're going to play. So I've met my ex at a bar, and I can identify with some of the things that both of them are saying. So they've obviously got a child together, so I'll just run through some of the dialogue. He's distracted. Don't know why she'd think I was listening to the radio. Maybe it's because I'm head of security and I need to keep up on what's going on. I don't know. Yeah, that's why. So again, I'm going to just comment on the actual thing that's going on between the two of them, but it reminds me of just conversations I've had with exes in the past and people I've known. They're both right and they're both wrong. You know, he's like meeting his ex, and it's a bit rude, and I agree with her, to be listening to the radio. But then, you know, he's got an important job and he's listening to something that might affect, you know, the world war or something. So, you know, what do you expect him to do? So, you know, it's like being in the police or any of the emergency services where you're on call and people don't like it. So they both got a point. Exactly. And exactly. So on here I'm going to say she's right because I'd be annoyed if my partner didn't come and see our child, whatever the reason, especially if he doesn't message her back, because that doesn't take any amount of time and that's just rude. So she's absolutely right there. Yeah, you ain't got an answer because you're wrong, mate. This bit would be me. I wouldn't want to spend time at my ex's place after we broke up, so I get that. Don't think I'd tell her that though, but anyway. For the fact they're meeting, he's a bit disconnected and she's very aggressive. I'm not saying there's not reasons for both, but anyway. This is the bit where I think he's right, because she says you were never home, and he says, well, none of us were home, and that's a fair comment because he was starting out at a new job and she was never home. So, you know, it was both of us, and her answer is whatever. So she's not taking any responsibility for anything really. It's basically all his fault. So there I think he's right. But yeah, he needs to, you know, stand up and man up with his daughter for sure. Okay, this is the first kind of choice you get. I think probably he would say that, but yeah, okay, seems the right thing to say for the game. And then she runs away.
As I started walking home, I felt angry at myself. Not for failing to show my daughter how much I cared for her, but for actually not caring as much as she would have deserved. At least that's what I thought I felt like at the time. I was under a lot of pressure due to Banny's visit, and I found it hard to think about anything other than work.
So as you saw, there's a little arrow and a little running silhouette of our guy, so it's good at, this game's good at showing you where you're meant to go, which is good because I hate games where you're running around without any idea where you're meant to go. And for what it is, it looks fine. As far as I can tell, he's only voice acting for the main character again, but for this kind of game that's fine. I think in these kind of games you either get no voice acting or you get narration or the one character, so that's okay. These things that look like part of the wall are actually stairs. And we go up, and it will tell you if you didn't know, but it's very self-explanatory. So again, it looks fine. If you like pixel art, it looks great, and if you're like me and it's not your thing, it just looks fine. It's acceptable for the kind of game. I think this cost like £1, definitely under £2, so it was cheap. So it's all going kind of well. This is only about 10 minutes into the game. It's just that opening part where there's a few little bits to do with that other character, and then you come to this. So we're going to visit our daughter, who's in this building here. Well, the daughter seems quite acceptant of her dad, who doesn't seem to have some kind of bad attitude, really. Yeah, that's a hard one. I'm going to say kind of, but it's true. That's a good answer. I would have given that answer. It's always best to be honest with anybody if you can. Oh, she's doing good. Well, you didn't spend much time with her, so I guess that's game constraints. That's not because obviously if you went to see your daughter you've not seen for ages, you wouldn't spend 3 minutes talking about one thing and then go. But, okay, so that's fine. So, like I said, this isn't a game that I was going to play deep into for the channel because there's going to be spoilers and it's a story-based game. So it's just my view of what I've bought. And for what I bought for a few pounds, I'm quite happy with it. I think it looks fine, although pixels aren't my thing, as I said. I think the story seems relatively interesting. I definitely think the dialogue is well written because I could identify with the dialogue with the X very well. And I'll continue playing this. I don't know how long the game is. The actual sale price for the non-sale price for this is I think £15, and I think that's a bit much for this. I think yeah, it's probably at least a third more than I think it's probably worth generally, knowing what other games sell for. But definitely in a sale, if you like this kind of game, story-based point and click kind of things, decent dialogue, choices probably matter, I would say it's worth getting. So Lacuna is the first game of the games I bought in the deep sale. Thanks for watching Guessagaingaming. Till next time, take care for now.